Okay, so for 1a, I'm just going to substitute in 1. So I have 2 times 1 minus 3. 2 minus 3 equals negative 1, which most of you guys got that answer. Good job. B, I'm substituting wherever there's an x, I'm putting a p. So I get 2p minus 3. That's all I can do. So I'm done there. For C, I'm substituting in p minus 1 for x. So I get 2 times p minus 1 minus 3. Distribute, I get 2p minus 1 minus 3, which is 2p minus 4. Phew. Okay. And for D, I'm going to take f of p, which is, oh my gosh, I multiplied so wrong right there. Let me erase this. Whew. I'm like, hold on a second. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 minus 3. Gives me 2p minus 5. There we go. Sorry. So for part D, basically I'm taking f of p, which is part B, and subtracting 1 from it. So I have 2p minus 3 minus 1, which equals 2p minus 4. Okay. So for G of 2, for number 2, I'm substituting a 2 in. So I'm going to have, let's see where I'm going to have room to write this. 4, I'm just going to have to write small, times 2 squared minus 3 times 2 plus 5. So I get 4 times 4 minus 6 plus 5. 16 minus 1 equals 15. And G of S, wherever there's a T, I'm just going to put an S. So I get 4s squared minus 3s plus 5. Okay.
Where did you get the 45?
That's 4s. It's an s squared.
Oh, what did
Sorry,
you get the 4s?
Huh?
It wasn't me.
Where did you get the 4s?
Well, right here it says G of S, so I'm going to put an S wherever there's a T. So it says 4.
Miss Campbell, it's okay. It's not me. It's my brother. He's just being irritated.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, so now I have G of S minus G of T, and look at this. I'm sorry, G of T, G of 2. So I'm going to take this one, G of S, G of S, and subtract G of 2 from it. I've already figured them out, so I really don't have to do the math again. So I'm going to do 4s squared minus 3s plus 5 minus 15. Okay, great. Which gives me 4s squared minus 3s minus 10. Okay, and then D is using G of S again, so I'm going to use this one again, which is 4s squared minus 3s plus 5, subtract 2, so that gives me 4s squared minus 3s plus 3. Okay, questions? Is everyone okay with that? Most of you guys did pretty good on those. But on someone had a question on this one. So I'm just taking my 2 answers and I'm subtracting them on part C. Is that okay? Everyone okay? We're good? Awesome sauce. Okay, so we're... so sorry. We're still going to look at functions, only we're going to look at graphs and tables and other things, and we're going to interpret functions. Okay, so if I go up here, I'm going to try and get all this one problem into my screen here. Okay. So I have this problem. It says below is the graph of g of x. Find the following. So I have h things to follow. A through h things to follow. Wow. To find. It's going to be one of those days, you guys. I'm so glad it's Friday. Okay, so they want me to find g of 0 first. So I'm going to go, this is my x term, right? So this is my x value. They want me to find my x. They want me to find y where x equals 0. So I'm going to say it this way. If x equals 0, what does y equal on my graph? So if x equals 0, here's 0. What does y equal on my graph? Well, y is here. So what does that equal? 4. Beautiful. And the second one says, I'm going to erase it so it doesn't get all filled with marks here. The second one says if x equals -2, well, x equals -2 is here, and luckily I don't have to go anywhere. What does y equal?
-2.
So I went down -2. So x is over here. Remember, so let's talk about x is side to side, right? And y is up and down off my axis. So if I go here, this is my x equals -2. How far up and down did I go off my axis?
You didn't.
I did it. So what number is that?
0.
0. Awesome. Yeah, perfect. It's a 0. That's beautiful. Okay? And the next one says if x equals 3, which is here, what does y equal, which is there? So at x equals 3, this point is going to be 3 what? What's the location of that point? 3, 10.
10.
So y equals 10. Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Good. Yes.
Hard. Gosh.
Good job. Okay, so the next one says something a little different. It says the opposite. So the part B says the opposite. Instead of saying x equals this, what is y? It says y equals this, what is x? Okay, so this says y equals 0. So y equals 0. Okay, so here's y equals 0. Right here, this whole line is y equals 0. What does x equal? I can have more than one answer on this one. So x equals what? -2.
Right?
Negative, what? I'm sorry, say it again.
-2, 1. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's y. -2, 1, and then 2.
Perfect. -1.
Or would you
Sorry.
put through? Oh.
-2, 1, and 2. Yep. Because that's where it touches 0 at. Right there. Right there. That was Mel, right? Good job. And there. Perfect. Okay. And then the next one says, oh, this is going to be fun. Y equals 6. What does x equal? If y equals +6, which is here, right? I had to come over here. What does x equal? Well, it equals -1 for 1. And then we know it's not 10, but it's close. I mean, we know it's not 3, but it's close to 3. So can we say 2.75? It's about there, right? Somewhere in there. We're just going to approximate it. 2.75. Is everyone okay with there? I approximated it. Is there any questions? Please make sure you're asking questions. It's just being able to read a graph. Oh, thank you for... Sometimes I can't see your thumbs up because I have the whole screen with what we're doing. I like this class. Okay. So the next question is, I'm going to erase all this stuff so it's blank. Okay, so we can go for the next question. Okay, the next question says the zeros or the x-intercepts. So now this is written as a point because it's an x-intercept, so I have to write it as a point. What are my x-intercepts? Not y-intercepts, x-intercepts. X-intercept is where it crosses. I'm sorry, go ahead, Orlando, I'm sorry.
Oh, isn't it -2, 1, and 2?
Yep, but I'm going to write them as a point because it wants to know where the intercept is, right? So I'm going to write -2, 0, 1, 0, and 2, 0. Very good, by the way. It's where it crosses the x-axis is x-intercept, okay? Questions? Are we okay? Awesome. And then, what's my y-intercept?
4, 0. Or no, 0, 4.
There we go. Love you, baby. 0, 4, right there. Perfect. Okay. So sorry. Okay. So they should have defined this last year for you, and I hope that you guys remember, but if you don't, we're going to talk about it right now. A relative maximum and a relative minimum is the area that is relative means in that area it's the highest point, or in that area it's the lowest point. So here there isn't a minimum because it's infinity, right? It has an arrow on the end. This point up here at 310 is a absolute maximum because it's the highest point. Does that make sense? It's not relative, it's absolute. That is the highest point. So relative means in that area on both sides. So here's a relative maximum point because in that area, that's the highest point. That's what relative means, okay? So in that area, that's my relative maximum, which should be the point -1, 6. Okay? And my minimum would be this point right here, because in that area, it's the lowest point. Does that make sense? That's what relative minimum means. You should have learned that last year. And your brother's shaking his head, but I'm sure he's not in. What grade are you in?
I'm in 5th grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that
I
point
know
is,
what 2 times 2 is.
that's awesome. Whew. That point, I'm going to say that point is 1.5 because it's about halfway between 1 and 2, and -1. Looks good. Okay? So what is my domain? Who can tell me what domain is? Who remembers what domain is?
The definition or like the answer?
No,
to
the
this?
definition.
How? Well,
Does anyone remember what the definition of domain is?
isn't it the x, like it has to do with the x-axis?
Yeah, it's my x values. It's whatever my x can be. And it always goes from least to greatest. So, Malia, what's my answer?
I know.
Okay, tell me.
Infinity to 3.
Good. And what are my in things?
Here. Oh, it's the end one is closed. But I don't know what the infinity one is.
So the one with the 3 is closed, so that's a parenthesis. And do we know where infinity is ever? We don't know where infinity is, right? Because it never ends. So that means it's open. It's not not closed. So that would just be a parenthesis. Parenthesis. Infinity is always just a parenthesis. Good job, Malia. Okay. And what's the definition of range? Whew. Anybody? 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 Range. Oh, let me put this there. X. What's range? Hey, I can see that on the camera. Anybody know what range is? If domain is my x
The difference
values.
between the highest and lowest value.
Yeah, it's my y values. Good. So what is my range? Whew.
What is your range? I'll just play.
Yes, on this graph, what is my range?
Oh my gosh, that was super dry.
I know 2 is one of them. Or what? -1, is that what it is right there?
No. What's my
No?
lowest? What's my lowest value going to be?
Well, negative infinity?
Negative infinity. Very good. And what's my highest value?
10.
10. There we go.
Oh.
And is 10 included or not included?
It's included. because
Included.
of the
Very good.
black
Perfect.
dot.
Yes. Good job. And that's how we answer questions about graphs. Are you guys okay with that? We're going to do some more, by the way. But first, since we've talked about domain and range, I want you to find the domain and range of these two graphs. And it says assume both ends have arrows if there's no markings. So if there's not a solid point, so I'm just going to go ahead and put them in there for you. We're going to assume that these both have arrows on the end. So these both have arrow. Oh, that one already has an arrow. We'll just put it in there anyways. Okay. So find my domain and range of those two graphs, please. We talked about domain and range already, so you should be able to do it. Type it into the chat box. Write it on your paper, type it into the chat box. Both, whichever. Marco, you put in an answer also. I know we taught you this. I taught you this last year, so you should be able to do it.
Hey, Miss Campbell.
I got you.
Yes. Emma, is that you?
Do you want to be recording this?
I am recording this. I'm just not recording it on the Zoom.
Oh,
See, if you look right down here at the bottom of the screen, you should be able to see it's recording.
Okay. I
Yep.
did not see
I-
that.
So what happens is Zoom, after a while, it deletes the videos because we're using a lot of video space, I guess. Like they sent us an email saying we're like 800% over, 800, I said it right, 800% over our use for spaceage for videos. So they started deleting all our videos. So since I'm using the iPad, to teach you guys, I decided the program that I'm using has a video recording capabilities. So I'm using that, and I'm going to post them to my YouTube channel, and then I'll put a link in the Canvas page. So then they won't get deleted. So at the end of the term, if you guys are like, oh, I don't remember how to do this, I haven't done my homework.
Wait, so are you recording? So you're recording that, but you're not recording the Zoom?
Yeah, so it didn't record you
Okay.
making those, those lovely,
How many subscribers do you have?
I don't know, honey.
Are you famous?
No.
Yes, she's famous to me.
Okay, does anyone have an answer to put into the chat yet?
Are we gonna be using the infinity symbol?
Oh, yes. What you can do, thank you for saying that. They came up with this for infinity. So you can just type 2 small O's in there for infinity, and it looks like infinity. So if you just put 2 small O's together, it looks like infinity. So it's easy to type that in there. So you can do that for infinity. Then you have negative infinity. Looks like that. Does that help a little bit? Yeah, for typing in infinity. You're welcome. Thank you for saying that, by the way. Yes, you can type out infinity and negative infinity. If you want to type out the word infinity, you are more than welcome to. But there will come a lesson when we're doing lots of infinities, and that gets a little annoying when you're writing it out that much. Pretty good. You guys are doing pretty good. At least the 2 people who have actually put in an answer for domain. Now you have to do range for that one. So most of the time, somebody said, asked if we really only do delta math. Most of the time, all of our homework is done in delta math. There are a few assignments that delta math doesn't have anything for, or a few review assignments that we're doing in Canvas. So there are some things that we're doing in Canvas, but most homework will be done in delta math. I hope that answers your question. So this one is a little more complicated. So my domain for this one is going to be negative infinity, not included, to negative 1, included. And then there's a break. Uh-oh. I think we just lost our... Oh my gosh, I just lost the pause. Okay, so we were here talking about the domain of this graph. So we've got the domain of this half right here is the first one. Now I'm going to do the domain of the second half, and that domain is 1 to infinity. So we've got that. And then the range is not broken. So the lowest range, or the lowest point, is 0. And because the arrows are on the end, it goes to infinity, 0 to infinity. Okay? And then we're going to talk about the other one. And I've got arrows on the both ends here. And then this one's included. This point's included. This one's not. So it's continuous. It keeps continuing even though there's a break in there. So my domain is from negative infinity to positive infinity. Make sure if you have a question, you ask about it. And my range, my highest point is 1. Sorry, lowest to highest. Woo, that was really good. My lowest point is negative infinity. And my highest point is 1. Is there any questions on domain and range? Stuff that we should have done before in 10th, 11th. Oh, this is 11th. This is not college prep math, is it? This is secondary 3. Whew. But I know you did it your freshman year too. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go to the next page, which is where we're going to talk about where our graphs are increasing or decreasing. And obviously there's a typo there, just so you know, because they both say decreasing. So one of them has got to be increasing there. So I'm going to assume, let's assume that the second one says increasing. And the first one is decreasing. Okay. So what does the word increasing and or decreasing mean? Can someone tell me what those two words mean? Even in English, what do they mean?
Increasing means gets higher or bigger. Decreasing means lower or smaller.
Awesome. So that is exactly right. And they mean the same thing on my graph. So decreasing is where my graph is going down. So I'm going to just, what I do is I'm going to look at my graph. I'm going to take it and I'm going to draw just kind of lines in there where they change. So here is a change because it's getting bigger until this point. It's getting bigger and then it starts getting smaller at this point. And then it goes bigger again. Do you guys see that? So I've got 3 different sections. Boy, my lines are so straight. So sorry, I can't draw a straight line. So in which one of those areas is it decreasing in? Well, it's decreasing or going smaller in this area, right? And it's increasing in this area and this area. So I've got increasing, increasing, and decreasing. So now I kind of just took my graph and I divided it into sections so I know what it's doing. So now I'm just going to write it down. So first I'm increasing. So where am I increasing from? Well, negative, let's change the color here so we're matching with our graph. So we're increasing from negative infinity to negative 1. Okay, to negative 1. And then it starts decreasing from negative 1. I've already included it here, so I'm not going to include it here, to 1.5. And then it starts increasing again. Oh, I just forgot to change my color. I'm so sorry. Let me fix that. I'm all frustrated from the computer going down. From negative 1 to 1.5. And then it's increasing again from 1.5 to 3. And we're only talking about X values, not Y values, okay? The only thing we talk about Y values is when we're talking about range. Everything else is always X values. Any questions on increasing and decreasing? And really it's easiest if I just divide my graph up, color code it, and then write it down. And if you don't have colored pencils or highlighters, you could do pen and pencil or 2 different colors of pen or whatever you need to do to help color code it for you guys. Okay? All right, so next, any questions so far? We're doing okay? Everyone okay? I don't want to go too fast. You guys need to tell me if I'm going too fast, please. I don't want to find out like at the end of the section when you're doing your checkpoints that you don't have, I was going too fast and you have no clue what you're doing. Does that make sense? So make sure that you're asking questions as we go along. I'm pretty good about answering them for you. Okay, so given f of x equals x squared minus 3, complete the table, then answer the question. So I'm just going to plug them in, plug in the numbers to my equation, and then answer the A and B. So I want to find f of negative 2. I'm just going to come over here and write for a second because there's some space. Equals negative 2 squared minus 3. Right? So I'm plugging in negative 2 here. I'm plugging in this number right there. So negative 2 squared is 4 minus 3 equals 1. And that's 1. Then I'm going to do the same thing for negative 1. So negative 1 squared minus 3 is 1 minus 3, which equals negative 2. 0. Okay, this is right. Sorry, I'm like, oh, those numbers don't make sense, but they do now in my mind. Okay, 0 squared is 0, minus 3 is negative 3. 1 squared is 1, minus 3 is negative 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. So now we filled in the table. Does anybody have any questions about how I filled in the table before we move on? Okay, awesome. Let me make this bigger so I can see all of you guys. All you guys' beautiful faces and thumbs and all that stuff that you want to use. Okay, great. Okay. Then we need to find the y-intercept and the x-intercepts. So my y-intercept is where x equals 0, and x-intercept is where y equals 0. Just want to throw that out at you. So is there a y-intercept that we can find pretty easily according to our table?
-3.
-3, beautiful. Did it do that? Okay, here we go. We'll try this again. For the x-intercept in my table, there's no y equals 0. So what I can do, though, I can take my equation, and I'm just going to write it up here, and I'm going to solve for it. I can say, this says y equals 0, right? So I can say x squared minus 3 equals 0. Can I solve that? Oh, Mia, sorry. I can solve that. What am I going to do to solve that? What do I do first?
Plus the 3.
Plus the 3, beautiful. Plus 3. Sorry, I didn't give myself enough room, so I'm writing really small. Equals 3, and then what? I need x, not x squared. So what do I do now? Huh?
Square the 3.
Square root it, yeah.
Square root it. Beautiful. Square root it. Square roots undo squares. So x is going to equal plus or minus the square root of 3. So I have two answers. So remember, this is a square, so it's a quadratic. Look, I can't even think now. I'm all frustrated. It's a quadratic. So the graph is a U shape, right? Remember that from last year? So I have two x-intercepts. So I have the square root of 3 equals 0 and negative square root of 3, 0. Okay? Just a little bring you back to last year. I know you guys are all excited about that. Okay. So once again, guess what? Domain and range. Put it in your chat box. I'm going to just, let's see, how much time do we have? We have a half an hour. Okay, we're doing good. We have 30 minutes. Okay. Doing good. So again, assume if they don't have arrows, assume both ends have arrows. So these ones have points on the end. The first one does. So these ones have arrows. Okay. Go. Domain and range. Domain, range. Domain, range. Domain, range.
Thank you, Marco.
I know. Thanks, Marco, for that concert.
Oh, shoot. My bad.
Marco,
Miss Campbell.
quit swearing in my classroom. Especially when I'm
sorry.
recording. Now put some answers in the chat box.
All right.
Thank you. Emma, how come your brother hasn't been coming to class?
I think he's gonna get switched out of that class because he's getting his math credits through something else.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay, I was just wondering. And then I went and looked today. I'm like, are they really related? And then I was like, I was going to ask you today. So, okay.
No, you're fine. No worries.
Thank you, Emma. Good. Please put a D or an R next to them so I know if it's the domain or range. It's not only you. Just so you know, you're not the only one. Good, you guys. You guys are doing great. Yes, that is correct, Marco. Okay, good. I just want you guys to remember what the difference is between included. If it's included, I'm using brackets, remember? And if it's not included, sorry, I just totally spelled that one wrong. I'm using parentheses. Oh, domain. Oh, shoot. Nice, Marco. Yes. Good, you guys. You guys are doing good. Okay, I think most of you got answer for number 1 or number A, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. So the domain, solid dot, so they're included from -4 to +4. In my range. Oh, no wonder. Okay. The range is from 0 to 4. Look at Paige go. Yes. Paige, I think they're all right, except I'm going to say the range on number B, and we're going to talk about that. Malia, what do you mean was what wrong? When I said
No, the domain I put for number B.
Let me see. I gotta scroll up to your. Yes, it was.
Okay.
Why? Why, Malia? What are these right here mean? Is that point included?
Yeah. No. Nope, it's not.
There we
It's not
go.
included.
There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good. Nice job, you guys. I'm very proud of you guys. I now know why my internet went out, by the way. The wind is blowing super, super bad over here. So I think it went out for a second. So if it goes out again, just gonna warn you, it might happen. Okay, so for part B, my domain is from -infinity to 1. Because look, they're open. Both of them are open at 1. So 1's not included. And then 1 to positive infinity. It's just kind of weird because I have 2 both at 1, but they're both the parentheses, so it shows that 1's not included. Very good, Malia. Exactly like that. Yeah. Okay. And then my range is, I'm going to erase this for a second so I can talk about it. So normally we would say my range is between -1 and 1, but is there any graph actually between -1 and 1? There's a graph at -1 and there's a graph at 1, but is there anything like at 0.5 or 0 or -0.5? There's nothing in there, right? So my range is going to be this, and it's going to be kind of weird. I'm just going to show you. It's going to be included at -1 and included at 1. And that's it. I have two different ranges, but it's just included at those points because it's a line. It's just included at those points. I know. Why is it included in 1? Yeah, it's not included at this point because my domain tells me it's not, but it's included at every other point on that line. Again, it's included at every other point at -1. Does that make sense now? My domain tells me it's not included here. Okay, great. But every other point on my range, it's included in there. If I wrote it this way, let me say this. If I wrote it this way, -1, oh, that's not a 1, -1 to 1, that means it's -1 and every number in between -1 and 1, including all this space in there. Is there anything in there that's part of that graph? No, there's not. So I can't write it this way because all of this, why are you not erasing? Oh, I know why. Because all of this is not part of my graph. So the part in the middle is not part of my graph, so I have to write it individually. It's kind of weird. That's why we had that one on there. And then the last one, I think most people that I've seen that have the last one up there is correct. It's got arrows on the end. It's getting wider. So the domain is -infinity to infinity. And then my range, my lowest range is -infinity to 1, and 1 is included. Okay? Nice job. Very, very, very good. I'm going to leave that on here, but I am going to slide up here. Okay, so this is just like the first question we answered. So I would like you to try and answer number 4. Go. All on your own before I do it. You guys are doing great. Thanks for coming back after the problem, by the way. The internet issue today. Is there another? Nope, it only says decreasing. Okay. And remember, domain and range are always least to greatest. Good. You guys are doing great.
That is the range. Oh!
Remember, range is Y values from least to greatest.
Shoot,
I think you put a combination of both of them in there.
I actually just put the domain.
Oh, is that what you put? I guess I didn't even pay attention.
Yeah.
Okay. How are we doing on time? 39. And we have 2 more questions after this. Let me look. Yes. Oh, I'm looking at the recording thinking that's the time. Okay. No, you guys have had a chance to work on this, but I'm going to go ahead and start answering them. Is that okay? Because we have 2 more questions and we only have like 5 minutes for each one. Yes? Okay. So the range, remember, always goes least to smallest, and range is my y's. So that would be -1, 2, 4. Okay? My zeros is where it crosses the x-axis. So it's only 1 point, which is right here. So that would be 1, 0. Awesome. My y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So that's 0, 3. Nice job. Okay, D has 2 parts. It says, the first one says, if x equals 3, what does y equal? So if x equals 3, y equals -1. And then it says, if x equals -2, what does y equal? Well, 4. And then part E says, well, if y equals 3, what does x equal? Well, y equals 3 is here, so x equals 0. And if y equals 0, which is here, what does x equal? X equals 1. Okay? And what interval is where the interval where f of x is decreasing? Well, it's decreasing over the whole thing. So I guess that would be from -2 to 3. There. Questions? Everyone okay? Yeah. Nice. Good job, you guys. You are doing... Oh, I can't change the page from up there. Great job. Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes to work on these 4 ABCDs, and then I'll go ahead and do it. Let's see how much time. Just a few minutes, because I don't want to run out of time. I wanted to give you some time to work on the homework, but I think our small internet problem caused some issues. You guys, please don't leave your Delta Math until the last minute to do. And please do them before the checkpoints. Just want to say. Checkpoints are usually done on Wednesdays. That's usually your Wednesday assignments. And it's usually 1 or 2 of them. So they're either started on Wednesday or end on Wednesday, depending on where we are in the cycle here. So, okay. Oh, I guess I should find the answers. By the way, these should probably have arrows on the end, even though it doesn't say it, but because they don't have endpoints, they would have arrows. Nice. Yes. Yes. Nice job. You guys are doing great. Oh,
You are too.
thanks, Marco. Lonnie's supposed to be in here with us too, but she hasn't been in here yet. Marco.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just like.
I know, you're so surprised by that. Okay. So
How do you find the domain of f of x?
So domain is my x values. Okay.
Yeah.
And I always, when I'm doing it, I always look at the endpoints, and if they have arrows, it usually involves infinity. Okay, so it's still going wider and wider, which means it's going to go from negative infinity, and then because there's a break in my graph, you guys, I talk with my hands, and it's so hard when you can't see me. But see, there's this break right here. Ooh, see this break right here in the graph? But since this top point is included and this bottom point is not included, it's just like it's not there because it's on the same line. There's no break horizontally. The break is only vertically. So horizontally, it's continuous all the way from negative infinity to positive infinity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so my domain would be negative infinity to positive infinity.
Okay.
So domain is my x values, range is my y values. And then if I was looking for, I'm just going to talk about range really quick, even though I didn't ask about it, because there's a break in here. If this break, because this is right here, there's really not a break. Do you see that? My lowest point is here, and then it just keeps going. So this vertical break here doesn't really matter because there's still a line right here that's going. So it doesn't interfere with the, that break doesn't interfere with my, my range either. Does that make sense? Even though even though it looks like it might, it doesn't, which is, sometimes it does. Not often, not if it's a function usually. So f of 0, so if x equals 0, what does y equal? Well, y equals 2. If x equals 1, I have two choices. I can go down to where it's not included, no. Or I can go up to where it is included, yes. And so y would equal 1. Is everyone okay with that? Had two choices there. Where it wasn't included, don't go there. Go to where it is included, okay? And then when x equals 2, what does y equal? 0. Questions? Everyone okay? You guys are great. Okay, and does weird things. Okay, this is the last one. Okay, go. Give you a couple more minutes again to get going, and then we will. Malia, the last answer you just typed in, which problem was that for? Which letter problem? Which letter number?
Sorry, I've been talking to myself.
That's okay.
Let's see. Oh, that's -6.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
That was a joke.
did she get that one?
Sorry.
Okay. Thanks. I was like, I don't think that's an answer to anything.
Sorry.
Thanks, Malia. Okay. See how we're doing on time, you guys. Oh, 12:50. Okay, we have 5 minutes left. So I'm going to go through this problem kind of fast. I'm sorry. If you have questions, just ask. So my y-intercept is, it's marked right here, 0, 5. My zeros are my x-intercepts, and I have 2 of them, -3, 0, and 3, 0. My domain is my furthest to the right, furthest to the left x to the furthest to the right x, which is -6 to +6. My range is my lowest y to my highest y. So that would be -4 to 5. The global maximum is like the absolute maximum. So the highest point on the graph happens to be 0, 5. F says if y equals 3, what does x equal? Okay, so if y equals 3, which is right in here, I'm sorry, my line is not going to be straight. Right there. What does x equal? Well, x equals 2. 2. If y equals 3, not x, this is y. So if y equals 3, what does x equal? -2 and +2. I think you're answering G, which says if x equals 3, so here's x equals 3, what does y equal? 0. Do you see the difference between the two questions?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So then the next one says, and I'm going to erase this, the interval where it's decreasing and increasing. So I'm going to mark up my graph. So on this part, it's increasing. And on this part, it is decreasing. So this is that is not what I wanted to do. Okay, let's try this again. This is decreasing, and this is increasing. So it asks for decreasing first. So that would be from 0 to 6. I'm going to just include both of them. And where's it increasing at? From -6 to 0. Done. Questions? Everyone okay? Okay. You're going to get a chance to try this. Sorry we ran out of time, and I had some technical issues today. You are going to have some time to, you're going to work on all this on Delta Math. There's not very many problems. I think there's under 15 problems on Delta Math for homework tonight. So that's what it is. I'm going to stop.